We're going to jump right into it. The win streak is over for Jett.
Yeah.
Big upset from what we saw. Obviously, big crash. Here we're watching replay right here. Um, big. I mean, man, he just took a gnarly hit. Davey, you just had come on prior to us, going recording and talking about. You had spoke to some of the riders, some of the teams
Yeah,
after
right.
After Jett had started jumping this in practice. You wanted to get their feelings and see if we needed to make a track change. You guys did, correct?
Yeah. So what happened was the way, first of all, I personally am allergic to downhill doubles of any kind. And even though I don't think those were supposed to be doubles the way that Shane and his crew and Billy Hamilton and them from Dirt Diggers did it, but sure enough, man, he was just popping it in practice. The first practice so effortlessly, but so fast. And the
Mm,
thinking was, man, someone could go over that wall if they lose it, and that big berm at the bottom. And but no sooner had that practice ended than Ian Harrison of KTM came over and he found Jimmy Perry and said, "Look, I think you guys should look at that. That's really fast. It's really sketchy, and so is the other downhill over on the other side." And so Jimmy and I, who Jimmy works for MX Sports Pro Racing, he's sort of the um, event manager that works on the track, gives input, whatnot. So we went straight to the KTM rig and talked to Chase Sexton, Aaron Plessinger, Tom Vial, and Juju Bomer. And they all four were like, yeah, and AP was especially like, we just don't those things are really high speed and this track's going to get really
mm,
rough. Could you maybe cut them down? So then we went to the Honda rig and went inside with Lars Lindstrom, and then Johnny O'Mara and Dazzy were in there, and so was Jett Hunter, Joe Shimoda, and Chance Hymas. And they had like kind of, I would say, different opinions collectively. But in the end, they were like, yeah, just let it get rough, but don't let it be that fast. That it'll separate itself. And we told them we were going to cut them down, the faces a little bit,
mm-hmm.
not none of the landing per se, because it really wasn't a jump. It was just that they were able to hit that first thing off a braking bump and pop it. And so we changed them, and Jett gets the whole shot. And I'm thinking, 25-0. And I didn't see it because I was over at the other part of the track. He had that awful crash. I'm thankful that he's okay, other than banged up a bit. But I don't know, Ryan. I've seen you have a couple gnarly crashes like St. Louis the year you broke your leg. And
Yep.
what is going through his mind right there?
You know, Davey, I as watching it as a fan, got to watch it on obviously on the broadcast on Peacock. This is new information for me that you guys actually cut it down. But to me, it looked like, yeah, he came up way short. It almost he left off of a braking bump. We're gonna watch right here as he comes into it. It's obviously he needed more speed, maybe fourth gear, but right there he takes off that braking bump and just is way short.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the front wheel up. I feel like if he could have slapped the front wheel down instead of having front and rear tires touch at the same time, he would have made it, maybe been able to save it, maybe just went off the track. But because both front and rear wheels touched at the same time, all of that inertia, all of those G forces just blew his feet and legs off. You could see in the air, he's like, oh crap, I made a mistake. And then
Yeah.
just the thing comes, unloads off of him. So gnarly crash, like that was the end of his 24, making it 25-0. If it wasn't for that crash, obviously he would have been sitting very pretty for potentially making it 25-0. But that brings me up. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, bring that up. That is going to be the Dunlop due diligence of our show today, just because of we love that you were able to fill us in on everything that had happened prior to that practice and then going into the main event. Like fans and folks, we do have these riders, as everybody knows, has a parade lap. Jett knew, like Davey said, that it had got cut down. They also get a parade lap. So he I don't think it was a brain fart. I think he thought he still could make it and came up drastically short. And that was the end of it, man. So and also S Ritz 711. That basically answers your question. Your question: what was it necessary to take that jump out that Jett crashed on between motos? Davey answered your question.
Yeah, well, hold
S
on.
Ritz 711. So we pretty much we did take it out. We took it down, but he thought he still had it
Yeah.
to make that double.
Yeah, and we did not change it after that. I think the
Yep.
question, did we change it after the motos, or the race that Jett crashed
Yes.
on? No.
No.
But we did change the one on the other side, that they were also jumping. That was a different hill, and when the guys were doing that on the 250s in the second practice, man, that was hairball as well. These guys are getting so good, and the bikes are getting so what's the word, capable, that it's hard to look at a track and not figure out where they're going to start jumping things. And I like I said, it was an excellent track. It was a rough track, but the way these guys use braking bumps to launch themselves anymore, that's something that's something, RV, I think that kind of came in with you and Reed and James, but I don't know that it's gotten to where we are now. I cannot believe what these guys look at and size up and think, yeah, I could jump that. I thought the question when he said necessary to take it out between motos. No,
Yep.
we took it out. We took it out between practices.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll clarify that. Yeah, we don't touch the tracks in between motos unless there is a safety issue, major kicker, something that has to be changed in between motos or in between the first and second moto and before those second motos. All of the track changes, to the fans and folks that are listening, all of those changes happen typically after last practice, and then after that the track stays the same, so that there's nothing new for the rider. So Jett knew that was changed, and yeah, we don't change things in between motos unless it's a safety factor. So we
Sure.
answered your question there, SRIT 7711. So that was, yeah. So we got that one out of the way. So thank you for that question, and we'll go right into the Boxo breakdown. I had a Boxo come in and put a bunch of stuff in my garage. Thank you to them. It's amazing stuff. I'm waiting on a toolbox coming up next, a big roller toolbox. So thank you to those guys. We kind of answered too what happened to Jett in that crash. I feel like he potentially, thought he still had it. He knew, like we had talked about just a second ago, he knew the track was changed. He got a parade lap. We're watching now again, replay. I feel like if he maybe was in fourth gear, which would have obviously elevated his speed drastically, he may have been able to make it, but just a bad decision. Didn't calculate that right, and that, as we're watching, that was a massive hit.
And I give Jett credit for getting out there and actually riding the second moto. He was hurting, and he went as hard as he could for as long as he could, and wisely backed it down. And even in the first moto, to get up and get back on the bike, he didn't get any points, but at least he got a starting position that wasn't on the far outside, and was able to get a fairly good jump in the second moto. But yeah, there was just nothing in the tank. You can see he's riding completely with his arms right there, and just lets his brother go by. Of course, Chase went by, and
Jason right now.
The whole pack went by, at least the front runners. But he took what should have been a 0 day after that crash and salvaged enough points. It wasn't catastrophic, but it was pretty darn bad.
It was, and that shows you how tough these guys are. And I'm not just saying Jett, all these racers that are on the line. There's 42 of those guys out there, and there's something special about guys like Chase. Something special about all the top 10 guys. And for Jett to stay out there, like you said, that is not, Hangtown is not not a track that you want to start way out on the outside. Very fast first turn. It's too far outside to really salvage. He was only one spot outside the box. So to your point, he didn't score any points, which was obviously a bummer for him, but he salvaged the gate position, which put him in a position for the second moto to come out. I think he came out around fifth or sixth around the first turn. And that's where he was able to, he put in a good run. He actually made some passes. But ultimately, after 35 minutes, you know, the leg or whatever he was struggling with, I think it was his upper leg, and just being beat up, it eventually got to him, and the faster guys were able to come through him. But huge, you know, what salvaging of the points, and that's exactly what he needed to do if he wants to stay in this thing. You said he's 20, you know, as we know, he's 24 points down. Chase is, you know, we're sitting with a 1-1, 90 points. Hunter's eight down. Aaron Plessinger 21, Justin Cooper 21, Jason Anderson 23, and Jett sitting 24 points down. So he's got a lot of work. He's got his work cut out for him coming up to, you know, this next week in Colorado, and like you said, High Point after that. So we'll see what the middle of the week looks like. I'm sure he's gonna go back, do a lot of rehab, maybe ride once this week if I had to guess, just to kind of get the cobwebs out, see how he feels, and move on to Colorado.
Yeah, you know, after the race, Ryan, to his credit, again, he was out there, you know, signing plastic for some kids, you know, taking photos. You could tell he's limping around. I think he had at least a severe Charlie horse and definitely a chunk taken out of his leg, kind of Ricky style from the '99 San Diego Supercross. That cannot be pleasant. But yeah, it really sets us up well for summer. You hate to look at something like that, but as a glass half full, well, at least we're not going to see another 22-0. And if anything, yeah, if anything, we might see a battle of the Ryans. Only this time it's Chase and Jett.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's got his work cut out for him, but it sets it up. You know, it sets it up for the Pro Motocross series. I don't think it could be any better. And if he comes back, you know, and is able to win this thing in the end, what a story that will be, right? So, you know, we'll just have to see how Jett shows up at Colorado.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.